Hey there guys, what's going on? In this Best Class Setups in Modern Warfare series, we're back with another personal favourite of mine, the Ram 7, and I've got to say, you need to try this best Ram 7 class setup. I've always had a super soft spot for the Ram 7. Great damage, good range, a fast fire rate, and not too much recoil with the right attachments. It's a very similar weapon statistically to the M4, which is always a good place to be. I do apologise about not uploading a video yesterday. I had some personal stuff that needed sorting out, but we are back today. But just before we do get into this very powerful Ram 7 class setup here, let's try and get this video to 25 likes. We've somehow actually managed to convince nearly 1,800 people to subscribe, which is pretty wild. So if you haven't already done so, make sure you do click that subscribe button with those notifications turned on so you don't miss any more of these videos. Anyway, let's talk about one of the best class setups in Modern Warfare right now. We'll quickly gloss over our primary perks and grenade choices here just for a more complete class setup. In the secondary slot, we do want the Akimbo 357. Basically, you want a really powerful close range weapon option set up like this, with the compensator, the long barrel, the lightweight trigger, the snake shot, and of course the Akimbo perk. This is still one of the better close range options in the game, just for pulling out straight away and getting a couple of kills really easily. Perk 1, we do want EOD or quick fix, depending on whether you prefer really explosive resistance or a faster health regeneration. Keep in mind that quick fix can sometimes be more powerful than a stim shot, especially if you don't really have a chance to use one. Like if you're getting pushed by an enemy, somebody comes around the corner, you do get a kill and you're getting pushed by another enemy, quick fix can actually save your life in that situation. But if you're on close range maps like Rust or Shoot House, you'll definitely want EOD just to counter the grenade spam. Perk 2, we usually do want Ghost to keep us off of those UAVs. Again, perfect for maps of all sizes. And perk 3, we do want Tracker just to allow us to see enemy footsteps and a bunch of other stuff with enemy death markers. We usually do roll the C4 in the lethal slot, of course, but all of the lethal options do a fantastic job in their own little special way, and you can pretty much take whatever you like here. And the tactical of choice is always the stim shot or some kind of flashbang sort of gas grenade, smoke grenade, whatever you really do prefer, but the stim shot is my choice just because it is so super strong. Alright, so we're going to talk about our attachments here, showing them fairly close to the start of the video, and then we're going to jump straight into some gameplay with some tips for this particular weapon. Basically, we want the guys who are just looking for the classes to go shred people. So starting us off here, we do have the monolithic suppressor in the muzzle slot. With this, we do get sound suppression and about a 10 to 15% increase to our damage range. You either take this or the compensator for most weapons, and some people do take the compensator on the Ram 7 just to help control the recoil, but I feel like we don't really need it with our other controlling attachments. In the barrel slot, we do have the FSS Ranger barrel for the damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control. This is a huge bonus, and this is a super strong option to help us get the most out of our gun. We're also choosing the Commando foregrip to combine with our recoil control barrel just to get that horizontal recoil of the weapon sorted out, which is sometimes a little bit of a problem, and these two options combined do help us in that regard. We're also taking the 50 round mags just for the extra bullets. With the high fire rate of the Ram 7 typically means 30 rounds is not enough. And lastly, we're of course running the stippled grip tape here just to get that aim down sight speed and sprint to fire speed back up. The Ram 7 unfortunately doesn't have a no stock option, which would make this much better. We'd replace it with the stippled grip tape. That means the close quarter stock is another good option, but it doesn't really bring the same benefits as a no stock would. This does make the Ram 7 a little bit slower than your typical M4 or Grau 556 class setup with the no stock. So you do have to play it in a little bit of a different way rather than just sprinting around everywhere. You do have to play a little bit slower. So get those sights up early and then sort of move around the map kind of slowly. It's not a super aggressive weapon, but you can be very powerful with it nonetheless. And that's why I think the Ram 7 doesn't really get the respect it deserves, probably because it doesn't have a no stock option. It's a little bit slower than the other assault rifles, but it does fantastic damage and has great range, so it absolutely shreds people. If you are going to drop out of the video at this stage now that you've got your class, I do appreciate you stopping by, but for the rest of you, we're going to jump into some gameplay with some tips on how to use the best Ram 7 class here. Okay, so this is definitely one of the more frustrating games that I've ever played on Euphrates Bridge, and I'm pretty sure this is basically the most standard thing that happens on this particular map. Get a couple of kills on the left-hand side there and push up onto the bridge. This is basically the strat on this map, especially if you want to take control of the midpoint. We're sort of looking around and being a little bit tactical here. We just want to make sure we do have control of this point. But this game was arguably one of the most frustrating I've ever played, as I said. Pretty much I was the only person actually getting kills, doing anything other than just sitting on the bridge or in the back of the map doing nothing. And when you do get encountered with a game like that, you just sort of have to push forward and do your own thing. And there's not really an awful lot of stuff that you can do. You just basically have to do your own thing, try and get as many kills as you can and carry the team as best you can. Like we're doing here, we're doing a good bit of work in the back end here, getting our kills and unfortunately getting taken out there. But I'm sure every single person on the planet has played on a Euphrates Bridge game like this. Everyone's just sniping, no one's moving up, and you just have to take things into your own hands and try and get as many kills as you can. Basically, it is very important to control the underbridge, and I mean, not really so much the overbridge, like that's kind of important, but more people tend to want to sort of move towards the middle of the map, just on the lower ground, so controlling this particular part of the map is very, very important. A nice couple of kills there again. But man, I can just see on the kill feed that most of the things going against us are on the red side. The kill feed is just full of red, and the only thing that is blue is me. Such an unfortunate game to be a part of. Come up onto the bridge. Again, I know that people are sniping there, so I shouldn't have peeked out there, but I don't actually think that he was going for me there. So again, a little bit unfortunate. So eventually we do get frustrated here and pull out a smoke grenade, and that's coming up shortly. Just getting sick of long range kills. So we do want to block off that sightline as soon as possible. We don't do it just quite yet. But man, we're just getting surrounded, which is so super unfortunate. So we do swap to the smoke grenade here just to cover off these longer lines of sight. And it's important to know that you can definitely get away with changing up your setups on the fly. Like, it's not always a matter of just one thing just suits every situation. Sometimes you just got to block off the long lines of sight so you can actually make your way through the map, get away from the snipers, and sort of actually get to play the game, push up. Because ideally we want to be moving into their house, like their house on the other side of the bridge, but we just can't get there at the moment. So we just got to play very carefully around the outsides of the map and just move in where we can, get as many kills as possible. Again, TDM on this particular map is not super fun. This does play a lot better on domination and other stuff like that because there's a little bit of consistent spawns. But this is just so boring. Euphrates Bridge is probably one of the worst maps they've ever added to the game. If you don't like sniping, or even if you're not sniping at the time, it's just not super fun to play. It's also important to know that with the Ram 7, you're always going to be a little bit slower than you would be with like a no stock M4 or like a Grau 556 with no stock. It's just the way of it, unfortunately. There's no stock option for the Ram 7. That's probably why it doesn't get the respect it deserves in sort of terms of against the other assault rifles. But we come up against here, take that guy, and we rotate around and just completely outplay him. Like, you can see the quality of the players that we're actually playing against is quite low. These guys are not very good at the game, but because they have better positioning than most of the players on our enemy, like on our team, it just sort of doesn't work very well for us, and we have to end up resorting to like taking long range fights, which is good for this particular weapon. But I mean, when everybody else has a sniper, you don't really want to be taking long range pot shots. Again, the 357 revolver, an ever reliable weapon. And again, just taking out these long range kills, getting a decent amount of work done, and sort of have to rotate back around as we're sort of get picked off if we stay there for too long. Come around closer to the bridge. We do want to be as close to the bridge as possible so no one on top of the bridge can actually snipe us there, as that's sort of always going to be pretty negative towards what we're trying to do. Pull up again, get a little bit closer to the bridge. I do really want to be on the other side of the map in the house, but again, I just can't get there at the moment, so running out of the smoke grenade is very lame. So we do have to try a different way to get a little bit closer. Again, we really do just want to be controlling the underbridge, and we kind of managed to pull it off here. Come under again. Just looking for people to kill. Nice close kill there. Did get taken out. And I know that these games are super frustrating when stuff gets like this, but you just basically have to do the best you can. You need your smoke grenade, and you need to try and get into the enemy team's house, because when the people do actually get taken out by some of your teammates, occasionally that will happen. They'll respawn at the back of their side of the map, and eventually will get taken out by you if you do manage to get the right positioning on them. But unfortunately, it just doesn't work out for us here, and we just get like spawn trapped basically. Nobody does anything interesting on this map. Like, it's a bit boring and it's a bit unfortunate, but we did manage to get a decent amount of kills here. Like, I can genuinely say we did very well compared to the rest of our team. Like, I think the second highest amount of kills on my team was 12, which is just outrageous considering I got like nearly 30. Just dumb. But again, everybody has been in a game like this, in a situation like this, where nobody on the enemy team, or your team rather, is actually playing the game. So it's important to try and take things into your own hands, push up onto the bridge, and get some of the work done yourself. We're just basically looking for people who are trying to take out our teammates. Come up here, again, unfortunately do get taken out. That's one of those things where the lack of mobility with the Ram 7 does come in a little bit unfortunate. Basically, if we did have an M4 or like an MP5 with your no stock and your FSAT collapsibles, we might have had a better chance there to get those sights up. But again, it's one of the downfalls and sort of one of the things that stops the Ram 7 from being one of the best weapons in the game. But you can see here, we're still getting a large amount of kills, come around and basically just shred people as soon as we do see them. Like, if we're in a standoff 1v1, like standard fight, just two people run into each other at basically the same time, the Ram 7 is typically going to win a lot of the fights just because of the fire rate, basically. So again, it is important to know that you're going to be a lot slower than you would be normally with like a no stock M4. So you do have to play accordingly. You basically just can't sprint around everywhere, be super aggressive. You have to line up your shots a little bit more, be sort of a little bit more accurate with where you are shooting and what you're shooting at. But again, once you do get those shots and get those sights up, you can be very accurate. A little bit unfortunate to get taken out there again, but as you can see, like, the game is wrapping up here fairly soon. And again, we're like basically the only one picking anyone off. We've got an assault rifle, most of the people on our team, and the enemy team have snipers. So we're putting up a decent fight against a fairly unfair team. Like, just the map sort of presents this way, and if you do like sniping on Euphrates Bridge, that's awesome. Like, the best thing in the world. It's the best sniping map they've probably ever made, but anything else wants to get played? Impossible. Just so unfun. Anyway, this comes to a close here, and you can see on the scoreboard when it does flash up here, 27 or 29, and the next guy got 12, which is just outrageous. Like, not very fun to play against, but we'll have our final thoughts in a second. Alrighty, so this is our full class setup here with all of our attachments combined. It makes the Ram 7 a very powerful gun in this game. Overall, this is a weapon that people underappreciate just because it's a little bit slower than some of the other options that are kind of similar, like the M4. If you are looking for a weapon that is up there as one of the best in the game, look no further than this particular Ram 7 class here. If you did enjoy this one, or it did help you out at all, make sure you do leave a like and do subscribe if you are new around here. Of course, we are very close to passing 1,800 subscribers, which is insane, and all the likes and comments that you guys leave really do help me out by letting me know that you are enjoying the videos. Season 4 stuff is coming very soon, hopefully, so thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!